That cut deep. This one's a bit longer when it comes to the video, so I'm going to try and get this as quickly as possible. Please feel free to pull out the knives and follow along with me. This sculpture is meant to be interacted with. All right, let's start with an easy one. This really shouldn't bother me at all. I'm sure lots of people have said it to my face. I'm sure even more have said it behind my back. But sometimes it depends who's saying it to you. I don't think this person knows that they said this to me, but it was the start of an indication that maybe I can't trust them completely. It really hurt. But it's not something that needs to be forgiven. It's just sort of a tally in not being sure I can be totally safe trusting this person. The truth hurts the most. This one was really hard because it is the truth. I don't feel like an adult. But the situation was really rough. It really sent me into a spiral, wondering where the person who said this and I go from here. And I know in my rational brain that this person and I have so much history, like almost as much as is possible. And we carry that with us into every interaction that we have with each other. And my brilliant psychologist, was encouraging me to try and let all of that history go and focus on what now could be a relationship, based on the realism of where we are and what we've been through. And it wasn't until I was holding this knife in my hand that I really felt like that was a possibility. In my head, I'd sort of understood where things were at now. But after processing it, after working on this piece, I don't hold the same feelings about it. I love this person, and I'm looking forward to seeing where we come together in the future. We know we're late. We know it. I want you to think about all of the words that are on this knife and ask if there is any way that these could be helpful. I know if I'm running late. In fact, this has become such a thing that I now overcompensate and have very compulsive tendencies when it comes to leaving and being on time. And I have a lot of anxiety about being late. I don't want to be early because that's equally as awkward, but I am very compulsive about making sure I'm not late these days because of some of these things that have been said to me over the years. So yeah, just when you're trying to bring up an issue with someone with ADHD, which it's valid to be upset about somebody constantly being late, just try to think of ways that it can be addressed that are positive and aren't going to shame someone into literally driving themselves crazy with anxiety about worrying about being late. Maintaining relationships with ADHD is really hard. I'm not good at getting back to people. I don't want to start a conversation, text, phone, anyway, if I do not have time to have that conversation right away, because I will get distracted and stop responding to people right away. But then I will forget to message people back and then deal with the crippling shame of the fact that I am not a great friend, that I am not as supportive to other people as I could be, and it chews me up a fair bit. I've had many friends break up with me over the years. The hardest part of it is, especially these days when I'm improving, I actually want feedback. What am I doing that is upsetting to other people? I think I'm at a place now where I can take that information in and work on it. But when people can't explain to me or won't explain to me why they don't like me anymore, I'm just left guessing and examining every single behavior I have. And it really reinforces to me that people don't like me for myself. Lots of people do. When I let myself be myself, which is not that often. Taking people at their word is hard for me. I always, in my brain, imagine all the things people could be thinking, that they might not actually feel the things that they're saying. So in the past while, I've been working on taking people at their words. If people don't say what they actually mean, that's not really on me. So yeah, there's certainly people that I trust quite implicitly. This was in reaction to something that was a big one. When I allow myself to truly trust somebody on something that's big, something that addresses something that's on the core belief pillar, it means so much. And one word with the implication behind it damaged my trust in who said it. I don't want to say irrevocably, but there's a lot of work to win that back now. Now, what I will say is, when it first happened, I didn't want to trust another human again, ever. And again, I understand why that feels like an overreaction, but I want to remind people that it felt so brutal. That's how deep I feel things when they first happen. It takes a long time for me to process, a lot longer than I expected. But I haven't let it affect other relationships in my life too badly, I don't think. And again, I don't know if it's something that needs apologizing for, and I don't know if it's something that needs to be necessarily forgiven, but it's again one of those tallies of reminding me that this person is not safe to trust, not at this point. And that's really hard because I want to be able to trust people. And I want to be able to trust myself to trust the people. Story time. I'll try to keep this quick. Several years ago, I think even before I was being treated specifically for ADHD, I was invited to an event. Thought that I had myself worked out, left early enough to get there and find parking, I assumed. But it was a festival. There was no parking anywhere. So driving around, trying to find parking, getting more and more anxious as the start time to this event comes closer. So flustered at this point, I finally find a spot, paid parking, which I really couldn't afford at the time. But whatever, getting in there was more important. I run around to one side of the building to get in, the door is locked. I have to run all the way around to the other side. I try another door, it's locked. I get to the front where I'm supposed to go into the venue, and the doors have just closed, like 30 seconds before. So I go back to my car and I bawl my face off. And I'm so frustrated with myself, and everybody was supposed to meet up to go for food afterwards, and I actually do not remember if I went or if I just went home. So this one is in quotations because this is someone who... So this one is in quotations. It's the only one in quotations because this is third hand. Someone told me that this is what someone else I care about said about me. And it was pretty brutal at the time. Also true, because the truth hurts the most. It was, in my opinion, a warning coming from the person that repeated it to me, because people should not have to put up with unacceptable behavior at the same time as being understanding about people's mental health. There are lines and limits, and I understand that you can't expect people to be okay with any kind of behavior. Now, I want to point out that this was passed on to me by one of the best people I know. Honestly, one of the emotionally healthiest, most intelligent people that I know. Which is why I don't necessarily think it was meant to hurt me, but more to warn me that people are really unimpressed with my behavior. And I can empathize with myself that I was not treated properly then, that I made the best effort that I had in me. But I can also see it from the other side. And I'm sorry to do this to you, best person, but this is a double-sided knife. Not terribly long ago, this same best person, whom I love more than just about anybody, repeated another thing that I think the same person had said to them. And again, I think this was intended to be a compliment, and it is the truth. I have improved so much in the past few years. Really, my treatment has brought me a long way. But it was a reminder that this other person has held some pretty negative beliefs about me for a lot of years. So that was a little rough. I think it's a little bit like, oh my goodness, you look so amazing. You've lost so much weight. You look great. And it's like, oh. So I didn't look great when I was bigger. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. This is a big one. Everything on this knife is a way to dismiss my feelings. You say it's not a big deal. Well, it might be a big deal to me. Last summer, I killed my cat. Now, I hear everybody who knows about the situation go, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's not what happened. I did my best to try and help him. He was very, very, very old. He was not going to get better. He had chronic kidney failure. But I forgot his medication. I didn't double check that I had everything I needed in. And yeah, we scrambled, and my parents helped me to be able to try and get his prescription filled. I could have just driven back to Winnipeg. We were at the cabin. But when it comes down to it, I forgot his medication, and he died. And I feel the same panic when it comes to a lot of things. You say it's not a big deal, and to me it feels like life and death. That really makes me feel like how I'm feeling is wrong, what I'm feeling is wrong. The invalidation of feelings really discounts the fact that I feel so many things as hard as being aware, fair or not, to myself, that there is an aspect that I killed my cat. A mistake may feel small to everybody else, but it can feel life and death to me. And dismissing my feelings is telling me what I'm feeling is wrong, how I'm feeling it is wrong, and that I'm wrong for feeling it. Let's round this out with two insanely positive cut deeps. First one, a little story time here. I was in my therapy session and just very, very, very frustrated. This is when I was still fairly under-medicated, and I'd been working my skills and trying to do everything that I knew to keep myself on track, and I still was experiencing massive task paralyzation. Like I could not get myself to do anything, even when my brain is screaming at me, please just do something. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. And I wish I could have seen my face for this. My psychologist leaned just ever so slightly into the screen and said, "Did you think your ADHD would go away?" And again, I wish I could have seen my face, because I did. My rational brain did not. But I still thought, and I probably at times still really do think, that if I just try hard enough, I can be better, fixed, good enough. And a lot of times I come back to this one interaction and remind myself I am not neurotypical. And to expect myself to do things neurotypically is not reasonable, it's not rational, and it puts just such unrealistic expectations on myself that even medicated, even in treatment, even managing my sleep cycle and eating well and all of this stuff, I will have days when I cannot do a thing. Not because I don't want to, not because I'm lazy, but because I have ADHD. These days will happen, and there are days when I will crush life and I will get so much done in a day. But that is not the standard that I can hold myself to all the time. So this one meant a lot. I keep it with me. It's in the heart because it's a good one. Ooh, getting emotional for this one. The last knife was a gift. That's kind of why it's painted like that. I had been having a bit of a rough time and decided to call that best person that I talked about earlier. Just needed to talk with someone. And this wasn't even, we just kind of got onto this topic. I'd wanted to do this for a while, and I say it's a risk, but it wasn't a risk because I trust this person. And I already had a pretty good idea of where our relationship was at. And I apologized for how I had treated them in the past. And they gave me a gift. It wasn't, it's all right. It wasn't, I forgive you. It's, you can let that go. And I didn't realize how perfect those words were. Because they shouldn't forget. They should never allow me to treat them really poorly. And I would not want that. I would hope now that they would be able to address any sort of not great behaviors that I have. I trust them to do that, which is a big thing. But to say you can let that go, I know we've had hard times, but you can let that go, is more than forgiveness. That was the gift of not drowning myself in shame about our past. This was really something that shifted my brain when it came to my history with this person. I have been horrifying to them in the past. I do understand how bad some of my past behavior was. Just because I wasn't in control of it doesn't make it acceptable. But I don't have I hate yous when I think about this person anymore. I can still have those negative, interrupting thoughts, but I don't have to torture myself over them anymore. I can be aware of them. I can do my best to make sure I don't ever hurt this person again as best I can. But yeah, this person, this meant more than I think you know. And I love you.